This meeting is being recorded.
Well, it's just a welcome, everyone. It's beautiful to see everybody in the room. This gathering is dedicated to the power of forgiveness as taught in the Christ-mind teachings of, well, I consider the New Testament when seen a certain way, very much under that umbrella, but let's not spend the rest of our lives arguing about that. But very much focusing on like the specific wordage and teachings as given through A Course in Miracles. And probably I'm a little more biased to the Way of Mastery, because that's where my focus and language has been more. So just welcome. And also the idea of a healing circle, a place where I felt called to create a gathering, because I think it's a benefit now. I think people are really struggling with, in my experience, the limited experiences, people are really struggling with everything happening in the world now. The sheer pain of it is part of it. A lot of people in the spiritual path are empaths. I take on the illness of people around me regularly. And I had one day where I was just completely shut down with I don't know if it was grief or just heaviness or, just the pain of it. And seeing these horrifically painful images in the media, and just feeling like it's a nice time to have community. And so that's why we're here. I think the crowd's maybe a little too big to go around and say, I like to say hello to everybody. I'm not sure it's going to be practical today, but I just want to really encourage people to speak up. I'll share a little bit about my own experience maybe, and maybe that sort of gets things going. I have a very strong connection with, I've been to Israel 8 times with the Way of Mastery crowd. Not only have I been 8 times, but Joshua in channelings through JM with me told me the larger purposes of the trips, the first 2. And then through the channeling connection that he established with me, basically told me about the purposes of each next subsequent trip every time, as well as about 10 other major gatherings. So I have a very strong sort of connection with all of this that's going on. I have a very sense of my narrative, my history. Anybody who's listened to the Way of the Student's Journey things will know that I've sort of very unusual things have happened for me around things related to Israel. Let's just put it that way. And so it feels, Joshua would always say to me in the channelings with through JM, he'd say, beloved friend, when you return home again to Israel, he would always refer to it as my home. And so this is, and there's a pilgrimage planned. I'm not an attendee, but for later this month. And of course, obviously there's disruption around that. But this is part of kind of the energy focus for my connection with all this. And also I think it's a central vortex for what's happening in consciousness. I've seen 50 supernatural events probably in my 8 trips, and 3,000 synchronicities. I mean, this is very unusual stuff. And so I feel like this isn't just what's happening in the world right now is not just another blip. This is going to be determining, our future in major ways. And I think it's part of this atonement plan Joshua talks about. He talks about it in the Course, talks about it in the Way of Mastery, a specific plan being applied in time and space now. He says the teachings couldn't have been given 50 years ago or 50 years from now. They're not just enlightenment teachings. This is orchestration, which is taking place if you believe this material, which I have. So that's why I'm invested. But I also felt like what the teachings, what Joshua says in the Way of Mastery. He said this into one of the private sessions I had. Said, beloved friend, and this is where I was taught to be a channel through this. He said, beloved friend, when someone asks you how to awaken, ask them if they have fully engaged the dream. Now, that's not the first instinct for a lot of Course in Miracles sort of students. It's sort of, oh, what's a dream? You don't need to worry about it, kind of. But that's not what he's saying. He's saying, no, have you engaged the dream? Essentially, have you loved it into healing? When someone asks you how to awaken, ask them if they have fully engaged the dream. For while the dream itself is wholly illusory, it must be fully engaged by the part of the mind that is Christ for the dream to be released and reality restored. Drop the mic, boom. I don't know about you, but why even when I hear myself saying it again, it's like, boom, that is just such an extraordinary teaching. And what he's saying is, and I've learned through sort of inquiry practice of many different kinds, is what I do with people privately. It is, oh, we all have kind of things that we don't engage, that we don't embrace. And it's those things that are generating this, what the Course calls the dream of separation. So it's actually it's something happening now inside of us, the separation. We're separated, we're pushing away, judging certain aspects of ourself. And then, because of the power of our minds and who we are as the children of God, that becomes this projection, denial and projection, this projection onto what we call the world. But it's not really the world is just this elaborate constellation of your conclusions from your very limited perspective about what things mean and what to do about it and so on. I like to talk about, I've been thinking about this today. There was a time when people thought the earth was flat. And it was perfectly sensible. If you're in Kansas and cornfields, or a lot of places, it's perfectly sensible to think the world's flat. I mean, it's ridiculous to think otherwise from your own personal perspective, unless, maybe you're whatever, you're a sailor or whatever, and you see them. But it's also true about subatomic particles, for example. I absolutely accept that they exist, but I've never seen them with my own senses in a way. So we start out from this very limited perspective, thinking that the world is a certain way. And then we gradually, through education, science is one form of education, experience is another, contemplation is another. We gradually refine our awareness about things. And there are certain sort of fundamental things that we learn in different eras that progress consciousness forward. To me, what we're learning in this era is I and I alone am the creator of my experience of reality. I used to think that things are being done to me from outside forces and powers, just like I used to think the world was flat. But now, because I'm getting more educated, more experience, more teachers showing me more proof in what happens in the world, I'm realizing, oh, wow, like, no, this is what's happening out there is a reflection of what's happening in here. Nothing is being done to me. That's a big one to learn. And not only that, that's only the first half of the power of forgiveness. To me, the real power of forgiveness is the second part, which is everything's always being done for me. Nothing is happening except the universe is answering our desperate plea for help, maybe quiet from the soul, and is creating exactly the events, situations, everything that we need specifically, precisely, intimately, that each of us needs for us to heal our consciousness mess. So we've made a mess of our consciousness. It's perfectly okay. There's no judgment in this. But the way we've used our consciousness is to create all of these unloving thoughts, most of which are now unconscious. All these conflicts with reality, all these judgments, incomplete knowledge about things. The world's flat. I'm a victim of the world. Similarly, ignorant perspectives. So would we be willing to trust a voice like Joshua or Jesus and see the love in it? It's like, well, it makes sense. But so it's helpful when we approach a situation like, for example, what we're seeing in Israel and Gaza, and who knows what else is going to happen. If we go into it and experience the trauma first, which I have done, we probably all have to some extent, it can be quite hard to get back to that perspective of, oh, hey, maybe this is all happening for a good reason. Yeah, it doesn't even feel good saying it. But the only alternative is that they're victims and that we're victims. And if we accept that universe, that second universe, the we're victims universe, I mean, it seems blasphemous to say the other, but the only alternative is a universe in which we are victims. And that's a much bigger problem than any war. So the best possible option is that no one is ever a victim, because the children of God aren't. It's not a potentiality in God's creation, according to Jesus in these teachings. And so forgiveness takes on a totally different flavor and meaning. Forgiveness becomes really the pursuit of, how is this for me? Like the gift that the event is occurring, that's happening. In lesson 3 of the Way of the Heart, Joshua says, forgiveness is the forgiveness of oneself for the projections that you have placed upon another, for basically what they didn't do and couldn't have done. Blaming them for something they've done to you or to someone, or inappropriately or wrongly or whatever, instead of seeing it as every event is in the world, the weather and everything else, as somehow for you, designed to help you awaken. It's like, wow, that's such a different perspective. So much more loving perspective. One of the final things I learned through Joshua when the sessions with JM was, only the loving story is true, because only love is real. What's the most loving explanation? It feels insulting, but all I'm saying is that when it comes to engagement, I'm talking theoretically now, but when it comes to feeling what we're feeling now, it's not really helpful what I just said. It's okay to know it's there. Maybe we get there sometime. But Joshua's advice is, are you engaging the dream fully? So you might ask, I think this is a beautiful thing to do, actually. Or maybe I'm just feeling guided just to ask, did we do this? So just and then we'll do something else. So just, if you would, just bring 100% of your attention. So there isn't any attention for anything else. Bring 100% of your attention to your next inhale. And then the exhale, breathing 4 or 5 rounds. Feeling, hearing, being present with, observing. Let's just let that observation expand. Start observing not only the breath, but observe, well, how's the body feeling? I have the weight in the chair, or however you're lying down, or whatever it is. Go ahead and feel the weight. Where's the body sitting? Maybe there's a little soreness somewhere. Go ahead and say, oh, wow, this is what's actually happening now. All that whirling up in the head about past and future. Well, that's happening too. There's a whirling in the head happening. Notice that. And coming into this state of observer, which Joshua says is the first step towards healing. Actually, it refers to it as all healing, switching into observer consciousness. So we start to see there's a visceral change, a feeling, a difference in feeling state when we actually bring our attention to being the observer of what's happening now in the present. In a sense, it's completely common sense that if we want to be effective at any given time, we have to be present to what's happening, or we don't know anything. So the first practice is, oh, let me just get out of my cycle of thought or whatever it is I'm in and just bring attention to the breath. The breath is linked to the Holy Spirit. And inviting breath to come in, and now on the next inhale, expanding your belly like a balloon on the inhale, gently, just inviting it to do this. One part of the mind that likes to be told things that it can measure and prove. Well, it's been measured and proved that this breath helps relax the nervous system. And another way it could be seen to be, oh, I'm reestablishing connection with, I'm being informed. My form is being filled with breath, but I'm also linking to wisdom, light, everything. I'm bringing myself to Holy Spirit in a different way than just thinking about it. This is the shortcut version. Joshua says begin at the end. So we're going to begin at the end. For any situation in the world that we encounter, in which the question, how do I respond to this in a way that is loving, powerful, because sometimes I really want some power because it's a heavy situation, and in alignment, correct, rightly, as it were, righteously, justly. If I wish to respond to a homeless person on the street, to the evening news showing what it's been showing the last week and a half, to an upset child or a spouse who's angry or a store clerk who is being rude, whatever it is, to an illness, to another's illness, to politicians that you strongly disagree with. How do I respond in a way that is powerful and loving and in alignment? Let's just say powerful, because in some ways that's what we really want. I think now, I do. I want to feel I'm responding powerfully to what's happening, because there's a lot of power taking place out there in certain ways. So what Joshua would say is this, and it's in the course, throughout the course, and in the Way of Mastery, throughout the Way of Mastery, is if you wish to respond powerfully and in alignment, you can't on your own.
Nope.
There is no thought process you can go through, no formal education process you can go through, like through schools, no amount of degrees, no nothing that can help you be of any help in that situation, which is pretty shocking. If you're also having some, let's say, reactivity to the situation. If you're tight, if you're scared, if you're angry, if you're, sad, if those emotions haven't been embraced and loved and felt fully and made space for, there will be this contraction. And we'll seek to use the situation to heal the problem that's still in ourselves. We'll literally use it, like you manipulate it. So, and each situation is unique, and we literally cannot be of any service or help as long as we think there's something wrong about the situation in kind of a judgmental way. This would be better if it were different, and I know that, or so-and-so shouldn't have done this, and this is a problem up till now, and I wish it were different. something is not holy perfection here and I need to do something about it. What he says, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not, is if that's how you're feeling, it's perfectly okay to feel that way, but remove yourself from the situation because you can't be of any help in that situation. You can be of help by realizing, oh, I've got an issue that I need to address. I'm in some conflict with reality, as Byron Katie would put it. It works so clean and beautiful, so helpful. I use it so much in the initial stages of inquiry practice. If I'm arguing with reality, maybe I'd be better off being wrong. If I'm arguing with reality, it's extremely likely I'm wrong because I'm wrong about a lot of things, and reality seems to be doing, seems to have this power of evidence of the fact that it's there. So maybe we would be willing to entertain the shocking idea that somehow holy perfection is unfolding. Ouch. Like, poor. But a part of holy perfection that we overlook, and this is really what I want to create a context for here. Part of holy perfection we overlook is the reactivity, the anger. I have felt murderous rage this week, and that anger and fear shows up in my mind as I want to turn the whole effing place to glass. I don't care. I just want to kill everybody. That's a feeling I was having. That's a feeling I was having that showed up as a thought that was trying to express a feeling. I think it's really important to engage all of those things, all of those feeling states. Don't repress them. Don't act out in the world. This is exactly the opposite advice. This is sit in your chair, breathe, bring attention to your feeling states, welcome them, honor them, trust them. And even if somebody says they're feeling murderous rage and they want to kill everybody, think of it as a metaphor. Or think of it as something that if somebody's going through that process and is being observant of it, they're not in denial of it anymore, so they don't need to project it. So I think as students of Jeshua, we're being asked in a lot of ways to love our enemies. Not to judge, because we don't know the big picture. The world has been full of atrocities from a certain perspective. Thousands of years of them. Is there a larger perspective? But this does not mean that when you are filled with grief and your heart is crushed, as mine has been this week looking at these stories, it doesn't mean you don't grieve, and it doesn't mean you don't feel crushed, and engage whatever is present. And this is a great gift of the spiritual teachings when we kind of really understand them. It's like, oh no, we're supposed to be not separating from our feeling states. We're supposed to be honoring them. They're the doorway to our wisdom. They're the doorway to how to act. I'll just share my own process a tiny bit more. I allowed myself to feel this rage. And then I thought it through and I thought, well, this looks an awful lot like it did 3,500 years ago, like almost exactly. The model is this. Somebody comes and steals your log, your fire log, and you get mad at them. So you go over to them and hit them over the head with a log and take 2 of their logs. And then they're mad at you and they come over and they steal 3 of your logs and your daughter. Then you really get mad and you go and kill the guy who stole your daughter and you bring back him and his wife just to be mad, just to be pissed off about it. And then they come and kill you and you have to reincarnate and do it all over again. And this goes on millennia after millennia. Until a guy shows up and says, no, don't do that. Can't you tell it's not working? And has this crazy idea No, instead, love your enemies. Just try it. And it has different outcomes. So it's we can believe the dream of separation, if to the extent we talk about it that way, is a terrifying event. But we're also told it never occurred. So we can have an experience of deep, profound terror from something that is totally fictional. So the fact that we feel strong, quote, feel strongly, well, it feels like we should attack. No, that's just, it doesn't mean anything. It's just ideas that are coming up, fear presenting itself as thoughts. But can we engage, like create space, time? I think it's really important to create time to breathe in that way and to say, what am I feeling? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling grief? Am I feeling anger? Am I feeling fear? And understand that the presence of those things is what is your doorway now. They're not supposed to be avoided. They're the sacred presence that, when engaged, births you with new guidance. When you go through the war, you have been, you've understood the ravages of war, and you may have a different idea about how to approach it. So, having said that, I would just like to take, I'll time it. Just if everybody would just close their eyes.
Yeah.
And just for 1 minute, I'd like to take a moment of silence. And just feel whatever you're feeling. Just taking 1 minute of silence to honor not only the experience of others and what's happening in the Middle East, but also how it's affected our hearts. And just breathe and turn towards and welcome whatever it is going on in your heart with breath and compassion. And I'll be quiet and just breathe for a moment, for a minute, and I'll let you know when the minute's up. And just taking one more breath and just acknowledging the heart is still there and still needs your love, and it's providing the wisdom and the path forward in many ways now. Sometimes we're only given information one moment at a time, but to see that everything is holy, including, very importantly, including our emotional states. They're this wisdom center, which is much greater than our thoughts. So with that, does anybody want to share anything about their anything? I encourage people to chat. I'll just talk the whole time otherwise, which I've already heard that. How's everybody doing
Hey,
this?
Dave.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So this happened to me today. I'm going on the Israel pilgrimage.
Yeah, Ira, how are you, man?
Good.
Nice to see
Good.
you. It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Yeah, nice to see you.
too. I had been getting really strong premonitions about the power of the pilgrimage. And the day that the war broke out, I was struck with intense anxiety, like really intense anxiety. And a friend, he and I went dancing. And I was on the dance floor. I was hit with so much anxiety, I actually had to like leave the dance floor and just go ground. like really ground myself and check in with Holy Spirit. Like, oh my God, am I about to go into a war zone? Like, what is going on? You know, and I have so many Israeli friends, so many Jewish friends, and so many friends who are sympathetic to the Palestinian cause. And it's really interesting hearing them say the exact same thing. There's no moral equivalence. The other side is completely wrong. If you're silent, that means you're complicit in barbarism or genocide. It's like they're saying the exact same thing. So
Yeah.
it's really just a lot of energy in my space. And I asked God for a sign of if I would go to Israel. And I went back to the dance floor and the song was playing. Uh, and the chorus of the song goes something like, brothers, sisters, hand in hand, we will make it to the promised land. Dun, 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 dun. We will make it. So I was like, oh wow, that seems like a very, very clear sign.
Yeah.
But then so I was like gun ho, like I'm going, I don't care what happens, I'm going. But today I'm experiencing something very interesting. And for the first time today, when I like rest within my heart, am I going? I'm hearing a no. And I have to just acknowledge that in perfect. I don't want to acknowledge that, but in perfect honesty, I have to acknowledge that I've been hearing a no and letting the alchemy of that no have its way with me. Um, and then even like wondering, do I need to go to Israel to make it to the promised land? You know, and it's interesting because that no has it's like vibrating, right? So it's like it's no from a place of deep still, like it triggers me and I like do it. And then I get like I hear a yes again. And it's starting to like really stabilize with just trust. Just trust. Like there's alchemy in hearing the yes, and there's alchemy in hearing the no, you know. So I have no idea if I'm going to Israel.
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, no, it sounds like a perfect process.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's about it.
yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And nice to see you, brother. Yeah.
You too. You
Yeah.
too.
Anybody else want to share? Anything that's going for, no, nothing going on for anybody this week? Anything that's just, any thought is fine. Like anybody want to, there's a little thing you can raise your hand or just put your hand up.
Hey guys. This has nothing to do with the Middle East, but this is a pattern that I need some help. I need help. This is a pattern that I've been going through with my wife for the past 5 years, and it happened again before I hopped on this call, so it's late. This theme about when she or anyone in our lives asks us to do something and we don't feel like it's we want to, or doesn't feel like it doesn't call us. It almost feels like we're like it seems like what the world would say, oh, someone asked you to do a favor, like she asked me to do a favor, and I'm like, I just don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable speaking, essentially, to let you guys know, to fill in what she feels towards other people in my spiritual whatever family gathering. And
Mm.
if I don't do that, there's a big blow up, honestly.
Say again, what's the issue? I didn't catch it.
Which she feels a certain way, and like because she feels like um doesn't want to like speak up, she wants me to speak kind of like how she feels to people in my circle, in my spiritual circle, family, you know, and
Is she part of that or is she not cool with that?
not cool with what.
With the community, this being you being involved in all that stuff.
Over the years, it's becoming more and more acceptable, but still it's something that she's she just doesn't feel comfortable with,
Yeah, yeah.
and so I'm sharing this because it's a theme that's been going on for so long that I'm just like I don't know what to do, but I just know for myself I don't want to like disempower anyone, or I want anyone to have free choice. Like in the way of mastery, it's like every soul has a free choice to choose what they want to do, and that's what I'm desiring for her, is that you have free choice if you want to come to any of these groups. The door is not closed, like if you want to speak, please, like if you want to share something or not. If you don't want to, that's fine too. But and then there's this back and forth, and I don't want to get into all the details because we don't have time, but it's just something that's really like pressing, that I just I came here and I just like I'm just done with it, honestly. I'm done, and I just asking help from Yeshua and the Ascended Masters and Mother Mary, and just everyone, because I just can't do this anymore. I can't hold on to this. I can't be in charge. I can't, all that stuff. So
Do you want feedback?
absolutely anyone.
Anybody want
Yeah.
to offer feedback?
Just to say, David, it reminds me, David, when you were teaching us about desire.
Yeah. How's that, Ann?
I was hoping you'd pick it up, but it was a very strong session about desire, and it made some of us felt that it felt selfish,
Yeah.
but that be in our desire and to honor the desire was very important.
Yes.
And that's one of the strongest way of mastery teachings.
Yeah, my instinct is to I kind of like, I feel like there's like energetic containers established, and then things happen within them that aren't really my orchestration. And so the name of this is the power of forgiveness. So my immediate tendency is to go, like, what's up about, where does forgiveness process possibly come into this this issue? So I guess the question I would have would be, how is this for you? Like her attitude about the spiritual stuff, and however you would describe the situation, might be worth describing it again. What you're sick of, what you're done with, and that type of thing. Like what's happening that you don't want, do you think?
I don't want anyone, including her, to be able to speak on her behalf. It just doesn't feel good. It's this idea of like, as I'm learning the way of mastery, it's like each soul chooses everything. And somehow it's like she's telling me that I need to advocate for her, speak on her behalf, and it feels like we're not infinite beings, we're not having all power, we're like little children that like in high school, that whole thing. It's like I don't want that. I want to empower everyone. And not even
Yeah,
me. I don't have the power to do that. Just be able to lay it all out and be like, that's what feels good to me. And she's like, well, don't decide that for me. But I'm not saying do this or don't do that. I'm like, do whatever you want.
yeah,
Yes or no. You have free choice to come to here. You have free choice to go to Starbucks. You have free choice to play video games. You have free choice to do whatever you want.
yeah,
And still, it's almost like like the you know the ego is saying, well, don't make that decision for me. So there's a lot of like, I don't know. It seems like it's very just, I don't know.
so
I don't know.
it may seem like the answers aren't coming from your current process. Is that fair enough? Like the way you're going about it kind of isn't, you're not getting where you want to get. Now, of course, we'll
Uh,
say, how do you feel? At least I can admit I don't like how I feel now, right? Good to have a sense of humor sometimes with these things. At least I can admit I don't like how I feel. So this is a like a thing for me, the difference between I can only say my experience of the course and the way of mastering other things is trying to figure it out in our head. But the way that I would bring this to the Holy Spirit for correction, because that's the only thing that would know how to correct it and to direct you, would be to say, oh, let me return to breath again. And just ask, like, how am I feeling? Emotional state. Joy is one, kind of a multiple choice: joy, anger, sadness, or fear. How am I feeling? Just notice about what your wife is asking, and you're done with it. You don't want to put up, you kind of, I'm just done with this. He's asking me to speak for her, it sounds like. Is that what you're saying? Am I correct? Yeah. So how does it, when you think on that, how does that feel for you? Anger, sadness, fear? Go ahead through. Yeah.
The confusion, anger. I don't know, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. Go ahead and take a nice breath. It's okay not to know. And just say, Holy Spirit, I just give this process of asking this question to you. I'm just going to throw it out there. Take a nice breath with it. What am I feeling? Nice deep breath. What am I feeling? It's a wonder question. I wonder, what am I feeling? Let me see. Does it feel, when you go through each one, does it feel more like each one will have a little bit of a charge? Does it feel sadness? Is that it? Take a breath with that one at a time. Oh, is it anger? Let me see. How's that feeling? Is it fear primarily? Which of them feels, you don't have to be right, which of them feels like it maybe has a little more juice? And something I've learned, everybody else is sort of listening, is these things are always for everybody. Everybody in the room, this is just what you need right now. But that's my opinion. Yeah. But which of those is it, would you say? Sadness, anger, or fear?
I don't know, honestly, Dave.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So let's just try. Let's go one at a time. So does it evoke a sense of sadness?
No.
Yeah. Does it evoke a sense of anger? And would it be okay if it did also? I'm kind of done with this, you're saying. I'm done with this. Is it anger? We have anger and fear left. It's a multiple choice question.
Yeah, I would say a little bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit of both. And you want to run with one or the other? Which one do you want to look at?
Let's just go with anger.
With anger, yeah. So take a nice breath. Well, I've identified that anger is present. Let's just be clear about our relationship with these things. Joshua says, to fully engage the dream. So within your experience, anger's arising. So is it possible to kind of create a welcoming committee for the anger and say, it's okay. Your anger is welcome here. Go ahead and be as angry as you want to be. It's really fed up with this, whatever it is. And as you breathe with that, let's see what comes up for you. Is there an angry thought there? Like, what are you angry about specifically?
Just want us to feel equal, just like here.
Yeah, I want us to feel equal. Yeah, nice noticing. So go ahead and take another nice breath. That's a realization. I just want us to feel equal. And see if there's something else. It's really helpful in this process. We can get to a point where you're making a judgment. It's like, she shouldn't do blah, blah, blah. And it's probably a longer process. Yeah, but if you can find she shouldn't be doing such and such, she should this, or In other words, as Byron Katie would say, how are you arguing with reality? What do you think should be different? I'm angry because she should. I never invite everybody just, let me see if I can bring my attention back to my breathing again. Am I getting distracted, annoyed? What's going on? Am I present? And we can bring breath back. Let's give this whole situation to the Holy Spirit, not for anyone else, but for ourselves. That supports everyone. So is there any sense that what should she be doing different, would you say? Don't try to spiritualize it. Go ahead and be judgmental.
Thanks for putting a smile on my face.
Yeah. Yeah, please don't try to spiritually. Yeah, right. That's the key. Joshua says seriousness is the problem.
Um,
Go ahead and judge. She shouldn't what?
she should be not this shouldn't, but this she should be okay. Like whatever I'm doing, just like whatever in these like in these relationships that we all have. This idea that it's okay if, and maybe this is still conditional love, is that when your loved one, whether it's romantic or friend or whatever,
Yeah.
it's like if they love to do something,
Yeah.
you love them because they love what they're doing. And
Yeah.
that's what I feel in my heart. Like things that she loves or people in my life that they love something, I love them because they love that. It's like no matter what they do,
Yeah. So I don't mean to cut you off, but what should she be doing? Like she should be what? Or she should not be what? Try to like distill it into that. It's very helpful to be able to distill it.
be okay that I'm in this meeting right now.
Is she not? Is she upset you're at the meeting? Is that I didn't catch that if that was part of it? Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she's absolutely upset that you're at the meeting right now. Yeah. So go ahead and take a breath with that. The idea that she should be okay with that. And she's not, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just invite you to consider, perhaps holy perfection is occurring. A nice deep breath. Perhaps holy perfection is occurring, and part of that holy perfection is her not being okay with me being at this meeting. Just be willing to just consider that. Maybe part of holy perfection is her not being okay with me being at this meeting, if that's what's happening right now, yeah? We don't know why. We have ideas to the contrary. But reality is that she is, yeah? So this is a beautiful thing about this power of forgiveness thing. So it would seem like your experience is being caused by her being upset about you being at the meeting, yeah?
Yeah.
But what the power of forgiveness is telling us is that that's impossible. Nobody can be doing something to us. Isn't that interesting? I'm pissed off about her not being okay about this. It's beautiful. And so the turnaround is, I should, I mean, she should be okay. She should not be okay with me being at this meeting. For some reason, we don't know. It may have nothing to do with the meeting. It may have nothing to do with, we don't know why. But just opening our minds to the possibility that things are just the way they're supposed to be. We don't know why, that we learn as we become more open-minded. But maybe this is actually being done for me for some reason, her being upset about me being at the meeting. Take a nice breath with that. Would you be open to that possibility?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. It's kind of ironic because the content of the meeting is telling you that, right? This is the way it works in the spiritual world a lot of the time. You kind of get cornered and then they get you. But oh, well, let me open to this idea that maybe her being upset about me being here is actually somehow it's beneficial for me. I don't know how necessarily, but I can relax, open, and inquire. Huh, since the universe is just helping me clean up my consciousness mess, it's true for all of us. We're all equal in that. And my wife is upset about me being at this meeting. Huh, maybe there's something for me to look at there. Don't know what it is. I'm not telling you I know what it is. But I think what forgiveness would say in the teachings is, yeah, no, there's a gift there for you. As you go deeper into, that's so interesting. Like, why? Not only is it for you, but it's happening at your request, is what the teachings would say. Whoa, wow, wait a second, what? This is happening at my request? Because it seems like you think you don't want it. So it might just sort of complete this inquiry there for now, if you're okay with that, but that might give you something to kind of just be with and look at, breathe. Oh, just in curiosity. Don't need to go into seriousness or get a major revelation from it. It might just be, oh, like, what other judgments do I have about her with this? And oh, maybe that's for me too, for me to see something, and there's a gift there somehow. Somehow this is for me. You willing to have that be your next line of inquiry?
My life depends on it, so yeah.
Yeah.
It's either like continue or just hang up and just check out, and
Yeah.
that's why I'm just like, I have to bring this to the table if I want to connect with you all. If not, there's no point of being here. So thank you.
No, that's what it's about. If to me, if the meeting doesn't hold space for that, then you shouldn't be here. You know what I mean? She'd be right. But you are, so we'll trust that too for now.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Dave, because I feel like when you were talking, my lesson this month is lesson 3,
Yeah,
forgiveness. So,
yeah.
and as you're talking, I just had the idea, when Yeshua was being nailed to the cross, and how, that soul that was not Saint Germain at that time, was about to nail him to the cross, and what Yeshua did, like how he saw, I'm trying to apply that to the situation now, you know, how he saw that soul and loved that soul, and I'm not doing justice of that lesson, but you know, through him was able to release him, and no more was that Roman soldier, was the doormat for other people's perceptions. He was
Right.
free and he became a saint. And so it's like, where am I, like Geshe said, where am I? I think he said, where am I crucifying myself, or where am I thought? Like, how am I doing this to myself? Like, where have I done this in other areas of my life? And I'm like, how can I apply that in this
Yeah.
situation? I'm not quite there, but I'm like attempting to go in that direction. So, yeah.
Yeah. You can just sort of rest in the question, how is this for me? Like it doesn't seem like it's what I want, but it must be what I want if the teachings are true. Nothing's creating your experience except for you. These are radical, like ego just freaks out with these teachings. But how must this be my will, in other words? So, sort of that she's behaving in this way. How is it for me? What am I not seeing yet? And stay out of her business, like, is the key here. Like, it's not about her or her transformation. It's about, how is this for me? How's it benefiting me? It might be strengthening your resolve to stay with your teachings. It might be doing something else. It might be doing something else. We don't know. There's something there that's a gift, and that's the power of forgiveness. I'm going to forgive myself for projecting my stuff on you, and I'm going to look at it myself and benefit by doing so.
David,
Yeah.
may I for just a second?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, Bacon, congratulations on being in the third lesson. I mean, that's an incredible place. I always love to go back to that and to remember that when he was on the cross, what he was able to do was say, when have I wanted to drive nails through someone else's hands? So perhaps the question might become, when have I wanted to keep someone else from doing something that they wanted to do? And then the forgiveness of myself.
Can you say that one more time, please? The last part.
So asking the question, when have I wanted to keep someone else from doing something? And sitting with that, and then forgiving myself. And what he explained, as I remember that, is that, and he made the comment, remember, I was able to do this very, very quickly because I'd been doing a lot of it. I'd really practiced at it. But once I forgave myself, I could look at him with love and forgive him and let him, I could basically see the Christ in him.
Thank you.
I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Someone had their hand up. I apologize. I never got to them. Is it Meg? Judy, did you have your hand up? No? Oh, sorry. There we go. Okay. Somebody has their hand, but I don't know how to do this actually. Somebody has their hand raised. Sorry.
It was me, David.
Yeah, go
Meg.
for it then, please. Yeah. Save me. Yeah.
Okay. I think I have had a little bit of a breakthrough in terms of my spiritual maturation.
Yeah.
In that, with this current crisis of Israel and Palestine, that I just don't care. And I don't mean that to sound glib. It's just, I feel like this is a war of attrition. This whole awakening and ascension process, and it's exhausting. And at this point, I don't want to take sides. It doesn't matter. And I just I'm okay with that, because everywhere I go, I hear one side pro, one side con, and I'm just kind of done. So that's where I'm at with this. This was helpful for me in kind of taking things into perspective. But really, I just keep going on and getting on. That's it.
Yeah, it feels like that's kind of where the consciousness is coming to. It's like what Ira was saying. Like this is the idea of taking sides here is crazy because everybody's saying exactly the same thing. They're saying it's like we're all the same. And everybody, if you go and smack somebody in the face, they're going to respond a certain way, just like you would. And it's just the idea of taking side. That seems to be where a lot of people are getting with this, is that it's, the idea of taking sides is not what we want to do anymore. And that's kind of new, I think.
It is. And I think that is, as you said, part of this divine plan, this divine unfolding, is that, yes, this is happening to us for us. So don't question it. Just keep going.
Yeah, keep going. You feel what's coming up. The Beatitudes are beautiful. It says those who allow for their mourning will be birthed with new guidance. Well, it's like, if the grief arises, or if the sadness arises, or the fear arises, like, can we be with it and see that by going through the process of being with it, that's what births our new awareness. That's such an important and beautiful teaching, I think.
Indeed. And that was beautifully put. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Yeah, Jody.
Hey, I love what that person just said. I didn't see her, but thank you. I feel like I should know it, but I don't. Isn't there a lot of prophecy around what's going on in Israel? And in that sense, would it be easier to allow it just to happen because it's part of a prophecy? Is that, I don't know. Because
Uh,
it seems
um,
like I've always heard things about Israel and,
if you're asking me, is it within the river of continuing unfoldment, which has some of which has been specifically foreseen, I would say a big yes.
yeah,
Yeah, and we're only told what we hopefully we're told what we need to know.
yeah.
But yeah, there's a profound unfoldment occurring. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, and so yes, Joshua, I asked what Joshua wants about this. This is way back when I was doing the challenge with JM, and he said, yes, it's good to actually step back a bit and observe. Of course, says be above the battleground, but even just going into observer state, just within ourselves personally, with our emotional reactivity, yeah, step back. Let's put attention on breath. Let me see what's going on inside me. So I'm not just reacting and doing this and not coming from an awareness of choice in terms of my behavior. But I think the answer to your question is yes, that it is easier to be present with it in some ways, knowing that there's a larger orchestration, but that doesn't help me. I'm only speaking for myself when I'm not going to repeat some of the things I've seen, but the grief in my heart is the grief in my heart at that time. And for me, the perfect unfoldment of the plan is me being present with that. And the things don't go so gracefully when I'm not,
Right.
So thank you. Yeah, Marilyn?
Yeah, hi. Thanks. I want to go back to when you started this time together and talking about, your reaction to what's going on, and that most people who are sensitive to this stuff, and I would consider myself one. I mean, it's not easy to be alive and aware these days for those, I mean, for anybody, I don't think, but I just want to, I think you've told me this before, and I just want to make sure I've got it straight, but that what you're really saying is all of our, I don't know, despair, discomfort. I mean, the reason for calling this meeting is to address, I mean, and I love being together with other people who are going, I mean, I love the call for community, but all of our, discomfort and pain around this is because on some level, I'll just say myself that I'm judging somewhere that it shouldn't be the way it is. Essentially, including my upsetness about it. I mean, like it's on some level, we wouldn't get upset if beneath that there weren't some belief that it shouldn't be the way it is.
I think that that's correct. I think that's what the teachings are. I think that God doesn't have a problem with it. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Oh, that's a good way of saying it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I saw things through the God in me, I wouldn't either. I mean, essentially, if I were
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's a beautiful saying that God only says yes. But at the same time, I think it's important, like really important, not to because it's not easy to feel the grief. It's not easy to feel the sadness and the fear and the anger at times. At least I think that's true some of the time for people. And it's very easy to say, oh, well, I understand this bigger orchestration or something. But does that assist the separation from feeling things? That's what we don't want it to do.
Right.
The whole story with Jesus was he was profoundly human. He was afraid, he was sad, and he lived those things fully.
Right.
Like
that's a really good point.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, I was going to say that's a really good point, because I think even beneath the question, and I think I kind of said that, is this idea that I shouldn't be upset about it.
Right.
So that, but that's a really good point.
Or would it be better? Would it be better to feel better, or would it be better to feel fully?
Right. Yeah. And that the idea that if I go back to some like Zen state or something, am I enhancing the separation by saying I shouldn't? I get, yeah, that's Yeah, I get it. Like
Yeah,
it's all
ego's slippery.
scary.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, Karen.
Hi, Dave. Hi, everyone.
Hey,
Um, yeah, I'm scheduled to go on the pilgrimage as well. So this past week has been exceptionally challenging,
Yeah.
and I guess and I've been feeling and breathing. I feel almost to a detriment, or not to a detriment, but I usually have a really good immunity, and I came down with COVID, which was
Yeah.
very surprising.
Mhm.
So I guess I'm questioning at what point is it useful to stay. I'll just give for me to stay in this situation. I've been lying around the last few days, taking the opportunity to breathe, but these feelings are so challenging.
Yeah.
And it came to me like, I don't know if this is going to help the body to heal,
What is not going to help the body to heal?
just to be breathing and feeling so intensely, just, and for me, what's coming up is just doubt, just a real confusion about being able to see one thing as ego, but then also as the truth, and then the opposite side. So I guess for me, I've been hearing to really not. I don't. Well, what I've been hearing is to not give in to fear,
Yeah.
and those are my words. That has not been said exactly, but I've been hearing, to don't give in to fear, and I don't feel a freedom in being able to discern for myself. And then if I discern for myself that it's not really for me to go, then the fear arises like, oh, there goes, I've succumbed to ego.
Yeah,
So
I felt a little. Do you want feedback? I sure was.
yeah, that's really the struggle. So I've been asking myself, what do I really want? And I really want to be rock solid in my own knowing and to trust that.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
lovely. You want to be right? Take a nice. Do you want feedback?
sure, of course.
Yeah. Take a nice deep breath. I know what my desire is. You just said it. The light went on. I want to be rock solid in my knowing. Yeah, and then I know I had a little jolt earlier when you said it was something about not feeling free to kind of discern for myself.
Right.
Yeah, is that accurate enough, kind of, as to what you said, or what?
Yes, I haven't gotten that message, or I haven't
That it's
received.
okay to decide for yourself. So I would just ask if that's true. You did get a message from yourself, which is, I want to be certain in my own knowing.
Right.
That sounds very clear. Sounds like a very clear message from yourself. I want to be certain in my own knowing. See if that feels true for you.
It does, but there's also a second part, is I want to be certain in my knowing, which I guess is also to not second guess it, to be able to make the decision and then just move on without, kind of second guessing and kind of staying with the the mulling and the weighing of pros and cons and all of that.
Yeah, it's interesting, the I mean, I have strong feelings about this subject myself. About the pilgrimage, and so I've been on all 8 of the other ones. I was put in the role by Joshua of knowing what they were for.
Right.
So I have to process my own feeling states around it. I think the goal here is, as always, to be clear about your desire state and to surrender to Holy Spirit, which is an internal connection. The thought I have is in yoga, where, did you ever do yoga? Look like you do yoga.
Mhm.
Did you ever do yoga? In Warrior 2?
Yes.
I'm not a yoga person, but I have I got roped into it for a while. So for me, when I go into Warrior 2, in about 3 seconds, my shoulders are screaming at me. And I was doing a power yoga thing, which is supposed to be like, they wait till a third of the people in the class to put their arms down before they chant, like it's tough kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So I don't know how I got there, but so I've got this conflict. My body's yelling at me, "You idiot, why are you holding your arms up like this? It's painful." And I'm like, oh geez, I don't want to look like the worst student in the class, which I probably do look like anyhow. But also, my buddy teaches this, and I want to look like I'm just giving up. I have all these, I want to listen to the teacher, I want to listen to my body. And then the mind goes into all these gyrations about what my justification is for doing one or the other, which is called bullshit. I mean, excuse the expression. The goal, you probably know this, the goal is to, okay, bring attention to the sensation and breath to this, as if direct the breath to the muscles, and just neutralize it by saying, oh, I'm noticing sensation, instead of my arms are feeling sore. And that sort of does something which allows you to reclaim the kingdom of heaven, as it is referred to in the Way of Mastery, which is the power of choice. And then you can make a decision. It's your decision. It's not the teacher's decision. It's not the body's decision. It's your decision. Because you're in stillness, and there does arise in that stillness, yeah, I think I'll put them down because I'm not worried about the class. Or it might be the next day, I don't need to pay that much. The body's the body. I think I'll just keep them up and see how it feels.
Right.
But the
Yeah.
guidance at that time is clear. It feels solid. And if somebody disagrees with you, you'll go, well, that's okay. Yeah, that's fine if you disagree. I just feel okay about this.
Mhm.
That's the goal, is power of choice and clear inner knowing, which will come through, again, breath, attention. What's my feeling state around this? Breath is being interfered with by a disease which you've manufactured. Clever stuff. My curiosity would be, is there too much deference to authority in your history?
That's precisely all of the stuff that's coming up.
Yeah. And what would be, like, would it be okay? And then there is other issues around that.
Yeah.
It's maybe not a 2-minute discussion, but getting into, well, where are my judgments around my, where do I trust? What do I trust? What do I not trust? What am I getting out of this?
Mhm.
And how is this very sacred choice? I mean, it's sickness is a defense against the truth. I'm not saying I don't do it too sometimes, but this is it's fascinating that in this very significant sort of thing, that this has manifested itself, all part of the perfect expression. And
Right.
even the question, I wonder if breathing is going to be good for the body. Like, breathing gets me in touch with my truth. Like, maybe I don't want the truth right now.
Well, actually, it's not so much breathing. I've been doing a lot of breathing, and I will continue to do that. The breathing
Yeah.
has been really helpful.
The
But
breathing's helpful, yeah.
but sometimes I think the last speaker alluded to this. The question was, maybe it's time to just take a break every once in a while and direct, feel those feelings of peace and what I desire. Look out the window, enjoy the
Yeah, exactly.
just to kind of raise the vibe a bit.
Get you back in touch with your desire state. What's your
Right.
present desire? Oh, my present desire is have a cup of coffee or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's how you get back in the desire state. It may not be to answer the question you're asking yet.
Mm-hmm.
Get in touch with desire state. I don't have enough time to tell it, but I have a great desire story where I absolutely had to do something, couldn't get myself to do it no matter what I did, was freaking out. I was in Israel, actually. And then I just, when all my guides ran away and were no help, thanks a lot. And then I just said, what can I do? and I had to do something that I couldn't get myself to do. What can I do? And I said, oh, what do I actually want to do now? Oh, well, what I want to do now is to just get up and walk. I mean, because I'm freaking out here. Oh, I can do that. And then I got so focused on the Holy Spirit just guiding me breath by breath by breath by breath that I actually had to knock on a door to talk to somebody that I just didn't, couldn't do. And then I just noticed, oh, I think I just want to knock on that. And I realized it just suckered me into just step by step. My decision was made for me. And then a beautiful healing occurred.
Mm.
But it was get back in touch with present desire. That's exactly what I think is the thing to do.
Mm.
What do I want right now? And trust the orchestra. That will all lead you to the larger desire to answer the question, to have your perfect inner knowing.
Great. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you bet. Okay. Let's see, where are we here? I don't know who that is, but somebody has their name up. Go for it.
I just this morning.
Say again. Oh, was that you again? I can't. I sit a little bit back from the computer for various reasons, but
Oh yeah, I did have my hand up. All I wanted to say was an insight that I had today was, I'm from Chicago, and they call it Chirac. There have been more murders in Chicago than both the Afghanistan. There have been more murders in Chicago last year than both the Afghanistan and Iraq wars combined.
that's just ridiculous. Yeah.
And it is an absolutely beautiful place.
Yeah.
And I would not push back. It's a very large space. That doesn't mean that the seriousness, the ridiculousness, because it is ridiculous. It doesn't mean that it's any less ridiculous. I think the media has like a fetish for violence. I think we all know the media has a fetish for violence. So also when I'm seeing these images of Israel, I'm also like, Israel's such a big place, such a diverse place. And for me, it's just like, because I'm from Chicago and I've seen the media portrayal of it, but then also the reality, the diversity of it.
Yeah.
It's easy for me to not allow media narratives to completely take 100% control of my perception of a land.
I hear you. I'll just speak for myself. I mean, I have some experience there, and I've never feel safer. Like because if I have faith that I'm going there under the directives of Joshua, which I do when I go, then I mean, what could be safer? I'm not saying what anybody should do. I absolutely am not. But that is my true feeling. Now, it wasn't always that way. On the first trip over, I remember thinking I'm a little freaked out, and I talked to this guy from New Jersey who commuted every 2 weeks. I thought, oh, could have took out the wind out of my drama sail there. This guy's going back and forth every 2 weeks, and I'm freaking out. So yeah, but so the safety thing may not be the issue. It might be something else. I don't know. Everybody honoring everyone's process here, and yeah, just honoring whatever feeling state arises. I think that's the next doorway. Yeah, sometimes things get really heavy, like really dense, and then we don't have the luxury of theories and all this other stuff. We just need to be with each feeling state as it arises, be present, embrace it. And then whatever arises out of that engagement will guide your next step. And you'll know when you know, because that's when you'll know. It's not in our hands. This is not in our hands. This is a surrender situation. And it's the accumulation of many, many other situations, all which has been planned. I mean, I believe there's a very specific orchestration that's taking place, but I don't know what's going on now or what should happen. I have my feelings, but the thing is the teachings are here for a reason, and they're here to show us that trust the teachings, be good students. One of the most important things is, I was talking about this realization came up when he's dancing. This, I posted this thing which some of you might have seen on the Christ Mind Academy site, LDSP. It's a page where you can go and do this sacred practice, which Joshua recommended, which is laugh, dance, sing, and play every day. He said, because if he said in this age of great transition and all these energies that we're experiencing, if you don't dance, if dancing releases certain stress energies. And he says, if you don't dance, you do not know what comes to pass. So you're losing the larger birthing, beauty of the larger birthing, because you're not knowing what's coming to pass. So he's not saying, oh, it's good to know that you're supposed to dance every day. He's saying, dance every day, like do it. Laugh, dance, sing. So if you go to the page on Christ Mind Academy, there's a little, there's a little, a couple funny things, and then a couple dance videos you can dance to, and then a sing along you can sing along. It's just for fun. But remember, I mean, it's hard to remember that seriousness is the problem. But laugh, really, like every day, laugh, dance, sing, play as a directive from Jeshua as to how to engage these times.
What was the quote you said? If you don't dance every day, then
if you beloved, if you dance not, you do not know what comes to pass.
wow.
That's wild, right? That's so amazing. So you won't know whether that works or not until you actually do it. And obviously whatever dancing means, it can mean just dancing is any movement which is sort of done with intentionality. I mean, my brother's entire capacity to move was his fingertips, in his eyes for 30 years in lying in bed. But, he understood the idea of these things. Yeah, music and so on. Gib, do you want to go?
Sure. A number of thoughts or feelings about this thing that I've seen or I've experienced during this last couple of weeks. Number one, there's a group of us that are meeting that are doing the living practices, and we have been stuck on beatitude number 2.
Mhm.
And I will, if I might, just very quickly read JM's saying about that. Save for those who accept fully their confusion, doubt, or sense of being troubled and restless within. For as they rest in their breathing, love itself will come to knit their fragmented selves into a greater wholeness, returning them for their wandering and carrying them into their true fulfillment. And it's just keeps hitting me over the head that all of these things that are going on, let me see, confusion, doubt, sense of being troubled, restless within. Yep, that's checks every single one of those boxes for me as to what's going on. And then I wanted to make mention of some of what's gone on for me around the idea of forgiveness in this. My best friend in the whole world is very much, he's Jewish. He was raised in those traditions, etc. And as far as he's concerned, the only way to deal with this is to bomb the hell out of the West Bank. Because it's just, if they don't do this, it's going to be repeated. And then I hear the president of Israel proclaim in no uncertain terms, we will never forgive. Never forgive. Oh my God. And it all of a sudden rushed over me between what was going on with Mike and hearing this. This is the dream of separation played out in the fullness of everything that's going on. We have decided to live, and when I say we, the world has decided to live in fear. And we won't forgive, we won't look at this, we won't breathe with it, we won't be confused. We have the answer. Bomb them. And that takes me to the place of the realization that I don't know exactly what's going to happen in the next week, but I will tell you, I think this is divine that this is being brought for various reasons for some of us, and hopefully more and more. And for those of you all that have been hanging around Christ Mind, It's growing. There's more and more of us, and maybe someday there will be forgiveness. We will be able to walk in love and not fear. And I really long for those days. And thank you for letting me make a speech.
You bet.
Yeah.
So just anybody else want to say anything? We're kind of coming to the end of the time we have allotted. Just want to create, if anybody else wants to share anything. Don't hesitate if you do. Protect, you know, it's laugh, dance, sing, play, and do one outrageous thing every day is the teaching. And like one outrageous thing is raising your hand when you really don't like raising your hand. Like, you know, it's kind of like, here's the edge. It's just an invitation. I'm not saying you should. But that's the type of thing. Oh, maybe I'll reach out and say something kind to that store clerk that I don't know. I don't want to get, you know, I don't want to invade their privacy, blah, blah, blah. But my heart's kind of wanting to say I really like their tie. Maybe I'll be outrageous and reach out. And that's the type, that's how I see this kind of outrageousness thing.
I just did an outrageous thing, David.
Yeah.
I just put my yellow hand up again for Thea.
Oh, well, go ahead. Yeah, all right, good.
If you knew how outrageous that was, she's going to hit me.
Thea, how are you, sweetheart?
I'm wonderful, thank
Still
you.
hanging out with this guy, huh?
I am. It's great.
Oh, good. So what's up with you? Did you want him to raise your hand, or what's? Are you?
No, he was being outrageous, thinking I would enjoy it.
I see. You're doing something outrageous for somebody else. Well, good luck with that after this is over.
I just got a number of vaccines in this arm, and I keep thinking she's just going to reach over and hit me.
Yeah, you know where to hit. Yeah, good. All right, very good. Just thought I'd cause a little trouble there. That's good. So everybody, just know you're not alone. You know, we're all going through this. I've been thinking about this, and you know, in preparation for the gathering too, because I create a gathering and I have no idea what I'm going to do or say, none. And so I'm kind of like during the day, I'm like, what are we going to do? And I was thinking about it. I was thinking, well, we're looking to identify what the right actions are, I mean, with ourselves, but kind of our discernment in the world or whatever. And there's a way that we can tell. And we can tell, like at the end of this week, we can look back and we can say, oh, I know what the actions should have been. They're exactly what happened. Because what is these teachings are saying is the peace which passeth understanding is that everything's actually the way it's supposed to be. That's the most radical thought now. Wow, I wonder if this is only holy perfection unfolding. We live in a world where everybody dies anyhow. I mean, I'm not trying to you understand, I'm not trying to be insensitive or minimize anything. I'm saying, wow, what would Joshua say? He would say, you are given time to heal your mind and your heart. And we'll take care of the big picture, kind of. Love one another as I have loved you. And I think importantly, love your enemies. If you start seeing, oh, we're creating our experience, we create it by what quality of thought we put our attention on. So what are my enemies? My enemies must be my unloving thoughts that I'm choosing to put my attention on, because they're the only thing that's causing my suffering. And then the instinct might be, oh, I want to judge that. That's not, no, how about if you love them? Oh, wow, maybe for some good reason, I've been choosing to put my attention on unloving thoughts, creating a parent dream of separation, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe for some good reason, I've chosen to see the ego as my prime ally and create all this drama and crazy. Maybe for some good reason, you know, we can be open-minded and hold space in this way. I think this idea of not taking sides is kind of where humanity's going with this. It's like, yeah, somebody's gonna do something crazy over here. Somebody's gonna do something crazy over here. We're gonna see that they're just neutralizing until the point where we finally get to the point where, I like Ira says, you said that, you know, everybody's saying there's no moral equivalency. Everybody's saying the same freaking thing and feels the same, and they love their children. And of course they're feeling terrible. And can we open our hearts to that while also sort of having this bridge to the higher perspective that ideally we all sort of get shepherded to eventually. So just hoping that your experience is exactly what it is, and that we have the opportunity as well to turn towards it with breath, awareness, presence, and observe and welcome and be curious and fascinated. I know we live in extraordinary times. So yeah, with that, I just want to thank us. We're just a little past time. It's lovely having everyone here. Check out Christ Mind Academy. I do private sessions with people if you want to do more of the kind of thing we were doing for a little bit there. And it's just really nice to have a gathering with everyone. Thank you for showing up. And we'll hope to see you all again sometime. All right. Have a good night.
Yes.
Thank you.
Dan.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Yeah, bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.